Howdy gang, Kevin here. But you knew that. Today is not going to be a traditional cigar and whiskey talk because if you can tell by my voice, I'm a little under the weather. We spent a few days roofing on my house, and temperature fluctuated greatly. It ranged from 50s to down in the teens while we're up there, and we're not done yet. Don't ask. But my youngest son was a little under the weather, and my middle son started being a little under the weather. And quite frankly, I think they infected me. I don't know with what. So, with that being said, this is not a traditional cigar and whiskey talk. I am drinking whiskey, Four Roses, small batch, with lemon and honey and just a touch of apple cider vinegar. I should have been roofing today, but quite frankly, we went in and picked up shingles, and I could just barely lift the bundles. I'm not used to that. So, I'm feeling a little hammered, not in a good way. My middle son, he's the only one left here. He was feeling pretty bad. He was up hacking all night, and so we basically really didn't get anything done today except for picking up more shingles. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. I wanted to get this talk out of the way while it's still fresh in my mind, while I'm thinking about it. And I guess we will title this "I Love Indiana Most of the Time." Maybe put BMV behind that. Back in November of last year, I was getting ready to go over to the Pathfinder School. In fact, I was on my way. And there's a butcher shop that I go to for fresh smoked bacon, and they make some phenomenal links down there, sausage links. And I generally stop off on the way for that for instructor breakfasts. So I had done that, and I was going through the town that this butcher shop is close to. It's out in the country, but you got to go through the next town you go through. I was going through there, and I decided to swing into Burger King and grab myself a breakfast sandwich on the way out. That was probably my demise right there. I go to pull out a Burger King, and it's into a 3-lane road, 1 lane each way, and a turn lane. And I pulled out of the parking lot and out of this little lane that goes to a strip mall and onto the main road, and I'm in the turn lane getting ready to, just waiting. And a semi is making a turn. I had to back up a little bit so he could make the turn off the main road, which is what this road joins with. And he made his turn and got by me, and I pulled back up to the stop bar and stopped. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden my van starts going. What the hell's going on? I look at my rear view. The same semi had decided to turn into the lane behind my van now, and apparently did not anticipate where his trailer was going to end up. That being said, he drug about 8 feet of his trailer down the corner of my van, and that's not a big deal. It didn't hurt it bad. But here's the process. We pulled in. This truck driver, he's a new guy. He's in training, as a matter of fact. He had a driver trainer with him, and we did our thing and exchanged information and all that kind of stuff, and called local cops to come to an accident report. And the local policeman, after he got done doing his thing, he said, "Now this is what you have to do." He goes, "Your insurance has to report to the state within X amount of days," or whatever it was, "or they will suspend your license." And I go, let me get this right. I'm parked at a stoplight. Someone else hits me stopped. The accident is their fault. Okay? I have insurance. You looked at my insurance card. And Indiana will go ahead and suspend my license? He goes, yes, they will. All right. So, before I get farther into this, wrong was had on all parts. Wrong was done on all parts. So you might see some spoof USAA commercials in the future. Maybe. But anyhow, I reported the accident to my insurance, called them and said, okay, this is what's going on. This is what happened. This is the accident report number. This is the police department you need to get a hold of for a copy of the accident report. Because they don't give you a copy of the accident report anymore. You have to call the police department, and they will sell you a copy of the accident report for $50. $50. We won't talk about that. But anyhow, I'm talking to my insurance, and I said, the police officer on the scene tells me you have got to report to the state. There's something that you have to do. He goes, it's standard. Everyone who has an accident in Indiana has to do this. They've got an Indiana driver's license. He goes, it has to be done, or you'll get your license suspended. I explained this to the insurance folks. They goof around and hem and haw around. They go, okay, I'm gonna have to transfer you here. I'm gonna have to transfer you there. But I got transferred 3 or 4 times, and I finally got someone on the phone who said, yeah, okay, I have to this is the form we have to file. He goes, but if I file this for you, he goes, it's going to raise your insurance rates. So I told him the same thing. I said, let me get this right. I'm stopped at a stoplight. I get hit by a vehicle that is clearly in the wrong. Okay? Even the accident report says it was their fault. I said, and you're going to raise my rates to meet some state requirement. He goes, well, hang on, let me check around. So he gets off the phone, comes back on. He goes, okay, now I know what I need to do. He goes, it'll be fine, it won't raise your rates. I go, so it's going to get done. He goes, yeah, it'll get done. He goes, I've got it right in front of me. He goes, it'll be submitted today. I was like, ah, cool. This was back in November, like I said, of last year. Now, body shops are all backed up and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how, because apparently nobody's working, because I go places and every place is packed on work days. So I don't know how anything is packed, but apparently it is. But anyway, let's fast forward to March. I just got my vehicle in the shop. Okay, but let's back up to about a week and a half ago. I get a letter from the state. It says my license has been suspended for my insurance company's failure to submit a certificate of compliance. And it's got some information on there. Call this 800 number, do this, that, blah, 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 blah. So I did that. And I'm on the phone for an hour and 45 minutes. Never did speak to a human. Going through places on this menu thing, and I end up, okay, you have to request a copy of your driver's record to do this. And you're like, what the? All right, I don't have to do any of this because I had insurance. Right? So finally get through all this stuff. Have you been able to find your answer? And I go, no, I have not. So it says, contact your local BMV. All right, I'll do that. Now, in the meantime, I've called my insurance agency, USAA, and I talked to somebody there. I told them what was going on. I said, listen, you guys got my license suspended. I said, what are you going to do? And he gets into the file, this guy does, and he goes, well, I see where it was submitted, but he goes, I guess I'll submit it again for you. I was like, all right, fine, do that. And he does that and calls me back an hour later. Shock of shots. So he called back. And he says, hey, I found out what's wrong. And I said, what's wrong? And he goes, well, we submit this thing, and it's to a fax number we submit it to. And he goes, it comes back, the fax is rejected. He goes, not that the form is wrong or anything like that, but the fax is not going through. And I go, well, that sounds weird, because on this letter they sent me, it says that you have to submit it via the Indiana BMV's website, not a fax. He goes, well, I'm just looking at the form. It's a D305, da 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 da. And I said, all right, whatever. And I said, I'll talk to BMV. So I drive into my local BMV. And I'm sitting there, but I got a side story to tell while I'm sitting there. I go in and get my number, and I'm sitting there waiting. There's a couple of people ahead of me. Not really, because I drew number 85, and it said serving 84 on the thing, so I don't know why it took so long. But I was still sitting in there 15 minutes, and there's three desks empty, people on them. But anyway, I'm sitting there waiting, and there's a couple of folks over in the test taking area. A lady and a guy and a very, very small young child. The lady is sitting at the test desks, and the guy is sitting behind her in the waiting chairs for the test area, and she's trying to hold the baby on her lap, and the baby's knocking stuff off the desk and doing all that kind of stuff. But that's not the thing. She was doing something, and then she would talk out loud, and this guy would talk back to her. And they did that the whole thing. And the ladies behind the counter over there keep looking over at him. Didn't say a word. So they were not speaking English. Okay. I think it was Haitian, but it's been so long, I'm not really sure. But anyway, they kept this up the whole time I'm waiting. And I go, well, maybe she's not taking a test. Maybe she's just sitting there. Because she was between me and the screen. But I had to walk past her to get to the desk. So they called my number. And I walked past. She's clearly got a test up on the screen. So apparently, BMV allows you to bring a friend to help you with the test. Apparently. Probably only non-native English speakers, though. But anyway, okay, back to the thing. I show this letter to the lady at the BMV. She goes, we can't help you. I go, what do you mean you can't help me? I went through the 800 number, I did this, and the end of it says, have you been helped? And I said, no, and it says, contact your local BMV. That's you. And she goes, well, we can't do anything here, you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to do this. And she starts highlighting things in the letter. And I said, stop. I've already done all that stuff, and I didn't get an answer. I talked to my insurance. They said this form that they're submitting is coming back as rejected. So I just need to know, who does my insurance need to contact directly to get this resolved? Because I have a suspended license. And the lady goes, yes, I understand. She goes, I used to work for Ohio BMV, and we did the same exact thing. People got their license suspended all the time, and it wasn't their fault. They shouldn't have anything to do with it. He goes, it's the same thing over here. And I go, just so we're on the same page here, I was not in the wrong in this accident, and I have insurance. They verified it at the scene, and I'm still being punished for an accident that wasn't my fault because they didn't give you a form. And at this particular point in time, the lady at the next counter starts jumping in and piping in. The next little cubicle, B&B person. And she goes, well, this is what you need to do. And she snatched the letter out and highlights and underlines some things on there. And I said, stop. I said, I already did all that, and the insurance company says that this is coming back rejected, what they're submitting. And she goes, well, you got to do this and this and this, and points to the same stuff in the letter. And I go, stop. I said, first of all, I don't know who you are. So if you don't have an answer for me, don't jump in the middle of the conversation. And she goes, well, sir, you have to do this and this and this. And I go, whatever, fine. And the lady that I'm actually working with, she goes, this is this, and she goes, just bullshitting around, basically. And another lady comes over who is supposedly the branch manager, or assistant branch manager, and she goes, well, you have to do this and this and this. And I can stop. I understand that's what you're saying. I understand that's what this letter says. However, I have done what this letter says and didn't get anywhere. I've talked to my insurance company. They swear they have done what they're supposed to do and submitted the forms they're supposed to submit and so on and so forth, and it's coming back rejected. And this other girl jumps in who's not helping me, and she goes, well, if you were doing this, and I said, stop. You're not helping. And at this particular point in time, the assistant branch manager goes, if you're going to talk to us like that, you can just leave. And I said, no, I can't just leave because your website and your 800 number say, if I can't get this resolved, I have to go to my local BMV. So that's where we're at. And she goes, well, hang on a second. Have a seat, and I'll see if I can find out something for you. I go, well, just a second ago, you said you couldn't do anything. So what are we going to do? She goes, I'm going to call the state. I said, I asked for that to be done, and you said you can't call directly. She goes, well, I'll call them. All right. So we're going to sit down. And then this lady is supposedly the assistant branch manager. She goes and sits down at her desk and gets on the phone, and then she calls me over after she's been on the phone a couple of minutes. She goes, well, who's your insurance company, and what day was this accident on? So I go through that rigmarole. I said, it was on 11/11/2021. Okay? And my insurance is USAA. And she relays this information to whoever she's talking to. And then she goes, oh. And I go, oh? What do you mean, oh? She goes, well, I'm talking to the state right now. And this is our contact at the state BMV. She goes, USAA is their problem child. They always do this wrong. So, once again, that's great to know, but I'm being punished. And I said, so what's going on here? I go through the whole story again. And she goes, well, first of all, we don't have anything that's submitted with a fax. We haven't used faxes for 10 or 15 years. I go, okay, fine. That makes sense. I concur. You know, I can believe that. I said, and this G305 that insurance says they're filing. She goes, first of all, the certificate of compliance has no form number. I go, okay. So what do they need to do? She goes, they need to file a certificate of compliance. I said, okay, so what is that? So I can tell insurance. Okay. And she's still talking to the state on the phone while I'm talking to her. And she goes, oh, we found out what's going on. And I go, well, what's going on? And she goes, they're submitting the wrong form. They're submitting this other form. And she goes, that's only for habitual offenders who drive without insurance. Oh, God. I said, so what does that say? And she goes, well, it's got your insurance dates on it, and she's got that you were covered on it, and it's got your compliance dates, and it's got your insurance information, policy information, so on and so forth, and the vehicle information. I go, now what does the certificate of compliance have? And she goes through their list, and it's exactly the same information. So let me get this right. They're submitting this form that has exactly the same information of a certificate as a certificate of compliance, and you guys are rejecting that because it's not on the right form. And she goes, yes, it has to be a certificate of compliance. All right, fine. I will go call my insurance again. So basically, here's what it is. I love Indiana. I intended to come back to Indiana after I got out of the Navy. Most of the time, I do love Indiana. I don't like dealing with the BMV because I'd like to tell you this is the first time this happened, but it's not. When I used to work for a phone company, they were self-insured, and a semi hit me in the ass. Very similar to this. They weren't going sideways, though. They hit me full force going on the highway. And my company didn't submit a certificate of compliance, so I ended up having my license suspended then, and that was easy because I just basically went into the boss's office. I go, here you go, my license is suspended, can't work today. He goes, what do you mean you can't work today? I said, my job requires driving. She goes, well, you can go ahead and drive. I said, no, not gonna. So that got taken care of pretty quick. So basically, I spent another 2.5 or 3 hours on the phone being transferred around at the insurance place, and they finally got this girl on the phone who goes, hey, I saw an email chain about this about an hour ago, and she goes, I wish you would talk to me first because I know exactly what we have to do. And I go, awesome. Why didn't all those other folks who said they knew what they were supposed to do do it? And she goes, well, they should have sent you to my department in the first place. She goes, I'll have it taken care of in 15 minutes. She goes, you can call me back tomorrow, or you can call BMV tomorrow and find out what's going on. And I didn't do either one of those two things because, quite frankly, I'm fed up with it. So, most of the time I love Indiana. Not not over this. So here's the deal. You get in an accident that's not your fault. The officer at the scene verifies your insurance, and I verified it through my app so that you know the information is current. Now, I understand back in the days where we got a printed form from the insurance, you could walk into an insurance agency, sign up for insurance, get your forms printed out, come back a half hour later and cancel your insurance. You got the form. You're good, right? But you can't do that nowadays under most circumstances. So I got my license suspended because my insurance did not file another document in addition to the documents they verified at the scene. Because quite frankly, most people get their license suspended and then they pay the $250, I think it is, reinstatement fee. I think that's what it is. Y'all have fun. See you later. Hopefully I feel better. Gonna be a rough week. I got class this weekend. See you all in the woods.